Greetings all readers and viewers at freetheanimal.com. Once again, it's time for another real results success interview. This time it's with the mother and parents of a family. They're bloggers too, Paleo parents. I'll give the link in the show notes. And I sit down to have a conversation with them. This part is about their own weight loss, which totals over 200 pounds. So, and then in part two, we will go over their three boys and what going paleo has done for them. So, without wasting any more of your time, let's just get right into it.
So, Stacy, before I started the recording right now, you were talking about your underwear pictures.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll splice photos as we're talking, but yeah, when we first launched the site, I kind of knew that it wouldn't be valid if I didn't show kind of the crazy changes that paleo's made, in particular my life and, the whole family's life. But I was setting up the site originally for just myself, and I had photos from after I had already lost 50 pounds. And so to me, when I took them at the time, I was looking good because I'd lost 50 pounds. And,
been there. Yeah. It's 20 for me. Yeah.
So now having lost 134 pounds, looking at that photo and saying, oh my God.
134.
Yeah.
No, wait. I mean, those pictures were dramatic.
I think it was 286 in that photo. Yeah.
Yeah, and then down and down and down. But what you're gonna see is this is what so captivated me about this whole story from the beginning is I see this family photo. And it's not an uncommon family photo, is it?
And I think we were pretty happy at the time.
Yeah.
That was while I was on maternity leave. You'll see Wes is just an itty bitty baby, and we were really happy. And that was like right after I had him, so we were probably just starting paleo. But we'd lost 20 or 30 pounds. Well, I probably lost 20 or 30 pounds.
I probably lost nothing.
Yeah.
So that original family photo, you'd already lost some weight. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that was
wow.
You can kind of gauge my weight loss journey by pictures of Wesley. It's kind of an interesting timeline because I started paleo immediately after I had Wes. I mean, I came home and I was researching recipes on dairy-free food because I have
and Wesley is the youngest of the three sons, and we're going to get into the whole set. This is going to be an extended interview, by the way. This will be a two-parter because we're talking about 5 people here, not just one. So
as you're looking at before and after photos of us, anytime that Wesley's in the picture, you can kind of see how many months it's been. So the family photo in the before picture, Wesley's about 3 months, maybe 2 months, but he's not like a tiny little newborn. So that means that we had already been doing paleo for 2 or 3 months at that point. Yeah.
So what got you motivated to change?
Well, for me, I don't digest dairy very well. I think I probably had always been lactose intolerant, but I had my gallbladder out a few years ago in between my first and second kids. And after that, it became really difficult to digest almost anything, or what I thought was almost anything. And so, I was just researching dairy-free diets because I knew I would be having the baby, and the babies in particular really suffered intestinally if I had milk as a breastfeeding mother. And so I happened upon it. I happened to be looking up a recipe for something dairy-free, and I saw the word paleo, and I was like, what is that? And
really?
Just got really lucky following a string of information on the internet, found Lauren Cordain's book. It happened to be available at my local library. I went and checked it out, and 2 days later, I was in the pantry throwing crap out of the house. And Matt was like, what are you doing?
So this is very interesting to me because it doesn't sound to me like you were like, oh my God, I'm so fat, I can't do anything about it. Da, da, da. You were looking for something. You were looking for something that was an intolerance, and you fell upon this.
Yeah.
By accident, just because
it turns out I'm not even dairy intolerant.
Right.
I mean, I thought that I was dairy intolerant. insurance.
So the weight loss is a fringe benefit then.
Well, Stacy had always lost weight after her pregnancy, so that wasn't really a concern at the time. Like, her problem has always been, she would get pregnant, she would have a baby, she would lose immediately 50 to 80 pounds, and then put it all back on a year or so. So she knew she was going to lose weight, so that wasn't a concern at the time. She was considering, like, what would happen after. How do I keep that weight off? But at the time, like, we weren't even thinking about losing weight.
You weren't. So you were. This is interesting, folks. Over 200 pounds lost between the two of these people right here. You're going to see these pictures in a bit, and it blew my mind. You stumble into this, and all of a sudden you lose all this weight.
I mean, I think just a light bulb went off in my head, and I kept, pushing the book in Matt's lap, and he would roll his eyes and say, whatever. But I had been a typical low-fat, high-carb dieter. I mean, I'd done Weight Watchers a billion times, and the reason it was a billion times is because you'd do it, you'd lose weight, and then you'd put it right back on. And, sure, the weight loss is a huge benefit, and it's a driver now, but never in a million years. I mean, my original weight loss target was surpassed some 50 pounds ago. I mean, I never in a million years thought that I would be, outside of a morbidly obese range. I just always thought that's my family history.
You had just come to accept that this was going to be my life.
In high school, I was morbidly obese. Like, it's just, I've always been huge, and I just
that family photo. I mean, you are like enormous, and then I'm sorry, and then I look over at the other one. I'm like, okay, she's not lean, she's not ripped, but you know what? She now looks like in the range of a normal human being. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, if you stick to it, the thing is, you didn't put on all the weight immediately. Right. And if you stick to the diet, you will find you'll melt off a pound or two a year, and over time you will, and you won't lose lean. Now, Stacy,
I'm still losing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. So now, Stacy, you started on this first, and you said you were sold on this, and then you're trying to get Matthew into it because you were seeing results, and he was resistant.
I couldn't picture it in my head. What eating that way could possibly look like. It just seemed like Stacy was shoving things off to the side all the time. I'm like, well, you're shoving aside half the things that I'm cooking here. Well,
Matt, I think it's important for everybody to know Matt actually is the stay-at-home dad of our family, which is a little bit unusual, and I work. So Matt cooks our meals, and in the beginning, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to make pasta. What do you want for dinner? And, I would have meatballs and salad and just ask him to separate out the pasta, and the whole family would have spaghetti. And then, when we ran out of pasta, I said, I don't want you to buy any more regular pasta. And
so we ended up buying quinoa and rice pasta.
And then we just ended up, eliminating pasta eventually. But
it was kind of a gradual thing for me to realize, like, at first, I was 233 pounds, but I'd been bigger in the past. I felt okay. I didn't think that I had too big of a problem. And so when Stacy started losing weight, it was like, a gradual realization that whatever she was doing was clearly working. And the fact that, after she had Wesley, she had no postpartum depression, which was such a big issue when we had Finian, our second child. It made me, and she wanted to come out and hang out with us and play with us, and really wanted to be involved in all the family activities and do outside fun things, which she didn't with the last one. I was like, well, all these things seem to be working for her.
so let me ask you. I want you to continue, but so at that point, did you think? Did you think? Well, this is natural or unnatural? Did you have that sort of connection?
I understood that it was better.
All right.
That's all that mattered. I mean, it's like, oh, this is better. So
yeah, and it wasn't just the getting out and moving either. Like Matt had been really worried. I'd had terrible sleep apnea for at least the last 5 years, to the point where,
as long as I'd known you, really.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where a couple of nights he actually woke me up because he thought I was dying. It was really bad.
I would wake at night and literally hear her hear it getting harder and harder for her to breathe at night, to the point where all of a sudden she would stop breathing for a good 10 seconds, and I would be like
waiting for the breath. Yeah. I mean, it's not funny. I laugh, but it's
at this point
funny.
it's not a problem, so it's okay to laugh.
Yeah.
But it was really concerning for me, that particular problem. That went away, pretty quickly. But all these changes were happening for her. It was so amazing that it was like, well, and I have had, serious depression issues, and ADD issues, and, all kinds of other issues. And I was like, well, these things are working for her. I'm giving it a try,
And how long was it after she started getting
6 weeks?
That pretty quickly, right? So she's
when you lose 30 pounds in 6 weeks, like, well, clearly something's working.
Yeah.
Even at that, he was more of an on-ramp kind of person. He still was doing Diet Coke. He still was doing, some not orthodox paleo stuff, but he at least, was going gluten-free, dairy-free, and, for the most part, processed free. And it got better and better. I think it was more around 3 months when you were like, well, I've actually been paleo for a week.
Yeah. There you go. And so, all right. So, to recap it here, Stacy, from the time you started this, you've lost how much weight since you very started?
134 pounds.
134 pounds. And that was how long ago?
15 months.
15 months. Less than a year and a half. And Matthew, you?
66 pounds.
66 pounds. And that's how long?
The same thing, 15 months, yeah.
So less, a couple weeks till she kicked your ass enough to get you started. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. There you go. Now, so that is 63 and 234. So we're at about 200 pounds altogether in the family. But I understand.
So how about that? Pretty cool, huh? I think so. Right. Well, stay tuned. A couple days, I'll have a part 2, which will cover the improvements that they saw not only in the weight of their 3 boys, but probably even more importantly for some of you parents, the behavioral improvements. We'll see ya.